welcome. It is Friday. I've got another interesting, different, and unusual guest, I'd say, because he's not a part. I'm going to go unusual because he's had an unusual challenge. So, Adam, please introduce yourself and tell us a little about your channel.
Yeah, so I'm Adam. I have a channel called Sharp Stuff on YouTube. So I don't really go by my first name very often on the platform. So some people might not even know that I'm called Adam. That's my name. I have a channel called Sharp Stuff, which primarily reviews beers. And at the moment, I'm tackling a 100 beer world challenge.
Yeah, it's a calendar, isn't it? That you got. I've seen a few people doing it.
Yeah, so it came from when I started my channel back in lockdown in 2020. I started reviewing just a few craft beers to pass the time, really, while I was on furlough, because I was furloughed during that period for a few months. And that Christmas in 2020, my girlfriend, my now wife, she got me 100 beers calendar. It's like a scratch off list, really. So like a lottery scratch card where you have a 10 by 10 grid, 100 beers, and it's essentially the most popular or most well-known beer of a country, and there's 100 countries on there. And as I already had a YouTube channel, I thought, well, why not document each of these beers? And we started out, and I'm still going. I think we're on episode 47 coming up this week. So I've slowed down in recent weeks, but when we first started, it was, I was putting out maybe, 2 a week. Now more like 2 a month if I'm lucky, to be honest. Now I'm back at work more regularly.
Yeah, it can be hard to get different new beers, especially when you're looking for Pacific beers like you are. It can be they're a bit obscure, I think.
Yeah, I think we're getting to a point now where I'm always halfway through the challenge. Like I said, on to episode 47 next, and a lot of the ones I'm trying to find now are from, UK resellers that only sell a certain cuisine from, that country. Or trying to ask favors, really. But, all the kind of macro lagers that we know well in the UK and Ireland, I've pretty much completed now at this stage.
Yeah. So you'll be looking for, if family are on holidays, can you pop into the bottle shop and if these beers?
Yeah, I've not actually been abroad since just before lockdown. So I'm hoping I might go to some of these countries that I need to source a beer from and maybe do a live or do an on-site review of some of the ones that I need.
So is it gonna be honey? I need to get this beer, so we're going to Central Africa for our holiday.
Yeah, let's book a flight to Ghana just so I can try this probably knockoff rubbish lager that is on the list. There's like countries like, I think Pakistan is 95% Muslim, so most of the whole country doesn't drink. There's only one brewery in the whole country, and that's on the list. So you can't export alcohol out of Pakistan. So I'd have to literally go there to try it. So that's one of the ones I'm probably never going to tackle unless someone can break international regulations to get it to me, which I'd rather them not try and do. So there's some I might have to just fall on my sword, really.
There's got to be someone on this channel that's traveling to Pakistan, and they'll gladly pick you up the beer, I'd say.
Yeah, well, they'd be breaking the law by taking alcohol out of Pakistan. So, that's up to them, I guess.
Yeah. Is there any bad points? Have you got any bad points by making videos for YouTube? So any bad comments?
What comments on the videos?
The bad comments.
Yeah, so when I first started the channel, I've not got many subscribers, to be honest. I only do it really as a hobby, and subscribers kind of come and go on my particular channel. But when I first started out, I tried to create a bit of traction because obviously you start on 0 subscribers, don't you? So you need to try and create a bit of a subscriber base. So essentially what I did initially was I went on forums, Facebook groups, and I made the massive mistake of going on a craft beer group and promoting the 100 beer challenge. Now, you obviously know that a lot of those beers are macro lagers, you like the Heinekens, your Carlings, your Moretti's, and some craft beer groups can be very
Yeah.
I can't really say the word because it's probably breaking
People here have been blocked from them groups. We've been kicked out of them, so we know.
Yeah, I got kicked out as well. Yeah, so yeah, I posted a few links. You know, the first few beers I did were Heineken. I think Red Stripe was the second one, and then a Tyskie from Poland was the third. And I think after the third link I'd shared, I think they were ready to get the pitchforks out. To be honest, you know, so that I had quite a few bad comments because some of the ones I shared got quite a lot of views from those communities. And then what would happen essentially is they then comment saying, you know, call that a lager, call that a beer. But for me, it was about documenting it. So I might have said that it was rubbish on the actual video, but it was about documenting the beer that was on the grid, not necessarily a beer I'd like to drink from that country. And I think initially when I started doing the challenge, people assumed I could just pick any beer from that country. But it's the actual grid does highlight the country and then the beer underneath that. Which I still think people don't get because I still get comments on my videos saying, oh, I would have tried X, Y, Z from that country. Yeah, well, so would I. I'd rather drink, you know, a really nice Dutch, you know, wheat beer than a Heineken, to be honest. So, yeah, I agree with you there.
Have you watched anyone else? Because there was a few other people who got that calendar that started making videos. Have you seen anyone else doing the calendar? There was someone else, I think.
No, I haven't. I think maybe people kind of tried it and, you know, either failed or got a bit bored with it. I mean, you probably see my videos. I put quite a lot of effort into each of my videos. So, you know, I probably go a bit over the top in some senses in terms of editing, you know, and making it a bit more cinematic. So, you know, for me to do that 100 times, it's going to take me a long time. So if anyone else wants to do something similar, I can now appreciate from my point of view how much work it takes to, you know, to write a little bit of a script, to research the beer, to film it, and then to edit it as well when you've got a full-time job Monday to Friday and then you're busy on weekends. You know, it's very difficult to fit that in your schedule. I've not even got kids, but I appreciate some of the other YouTubers that have children as well, and that obviously takes up a lot of time too when you're trying to, you know, juggle family life and trying to put videos out regularly.
I was talking about other YouTubers. Then do you watch much? We'll call it the beer scene or the beer tubers or people. I don't like it. Other people don't like the term. I think you know Scott and Wanda because he did the Scott and Wanda challenge.
Yeah. Well, I actually linked through to this. So I've been subscribed to Blue Van Man. I'm sure a lot of people watching this right now will know who he is. One of the most kind of well-known food and drink reviewers on YouTube, amongst other things now in more recent videos. So Blue Van Man was someone I subscribed to really early on. So before the whole True Geordie thing, I actually picked him up on one of his really early food reviews, and I thought it was hilarious. And I shared it with my friends. I said, look at this guy, he's hilarious doing these videos out of his blue van. And I think what happened was because Blue Van Man's got a connection with, you know, Chris the Butcher, Scott and Wanda, and a few others. I think what happened was I was linked to those channels maybe 2 or 3 years ago following that, and then started watching Scott and Wanda and Chris the Butcher. And then, you know, realized that maybe I could try and, you know, do some videos with beer. And that's how it kind of really started. So I think I probably discovered the likes of Scott and Wanda before I actually started my channel. And maybe they were one of the inspirations. I can't really say who inspired me to start doing it. The start of my channel really was just I got some beers for my birthday. I thought I'd review them, and that's really how it started. But I certainly was watching beer tubers before I did that and created my own channel. That's for sure.
You watch what kind of social media then? Do you consume much social media? TikTok, Instagram?
Yeah, I have an Instagram. So I mean, I think people may have seen it already because I think you shared that link on your Instagram itself. But I have an Instagram channel. I wouldn't say I promote my beer too much through that because it's more for personal. So a lot of my friends from school and university, etc., are on there. And to be honest, as a lot of YouTubers will know, your friends and family are the worst people to try and promote your channel because they're not interested. The people who are interested in my channel are people who are like-minded, interested in beer, maybe interested in a little bit of humor. So actually, apart from a few of my relatives who really do like my videos, most of my friends couldn't really give a toss, to be honest. So yeah, I don't tend to promote much of my channel for Instagram, but I do have Instagram and Facebook, and obviously I have the YouTube channel we're talking about now.
Yeah, family. I think only my sister-in-law and nephew know that I do YouTube, so that's kind of I don't talk about to anyone. But personally, we say away from creating, do you watch social media like Instagram Reels or whatever?
Yeah, I think you've got to be very careful because you can fall into a black hole, can't you, with things like Facebook and Instagram Reels, where you could sit there for a long time, purposely deleted TikTok because that's what will happen. I'll sit there, so I don't actually have a TikTok profile. I've purposely taken that away because I know I'll probably waste hours of my week just scrolling through various reels. In terms of kind of other YouTubers that I do watch, because I do like other YouTubers away from the beer community. Obviously, you know Mark the Pondering Man. I don't know if he's watching right now, but he's one of the YouTubers that I really have created a good like for. He's quite interesting. Some of the topics he comes out with are quite interesting. And then from kind of a more general point of view, in terms of bigger YouTubers that people would have probably heard of, I do like kind of watching. I'm really into cars, so I like watching the likes of CarWow with Matt Watson, if you've seen him. And I also do like watching things like football away. So if any Man U or Liverpool fans watching this, then close your ears. But I'm a big Leeds United fan, so I do like following football and have an interest in that as well, away from YouTube.
Okay. No, Mark is not, even though he's commenting, he's not watching us. So.
Oh, sorry, not. Yeah, there he is. Yeah. I'm not watching. Yeah, he's got his eyes closed.
I forgot to pay his TV license, so he can't watch. He's too.
All right. Okay. Yeah. It's all right, Mark. We won't tell anyone.
Favorite music and films. So what kind of music are you into?
Music. Okay. So I wouldn't say I'm a massive fan of any kind of genre. I'm quite boring in terms of music taste. I'm really into like top 40 hits, which probably won't sit well with a lot of people watching this right now. However, I am a big fan of a band called Glass Animals, which are a bit more indie, if you've heard of them. I'm not going to try and sing any of their songs live on here, but they've got some really quite cool indie songs, which I like. There's a band called Blossoms as well that I really liked back in maybe university days, who are still going. I think they're a Manchester-based band, and they're also kind of indie as well. Not really a band many of my friends would expect I'd really be into. I'm not really into the whole skinny jeans, oversized shirts kind of vibe. But the music I like. So, yeah, Blossoms and Glass Animals are probably my favorite band at the moment. I used to love Block Party as well back in the day. I'm not sure they're still going, but I really used to like that. And also Pendulum when I was younger, the drum and bass band, which again I think they had a bit of a revival in the last year or so. But yeah, generally on the whole, unfortunately, Thomas, I'm a big fan of top 40 music. Although in recent years, I think it's lost its way a little bit, and
yeah, into the younger people what top 40 music is like.
yeah. Well, a lot of the top 40 music now I'm not really into, but if you give me a place of top 40 tunes in 2012 in my university days, then yeah, I'll probably be my element. But maybe not so much now.
Yeah, Mark loves these skinny jeans as well. He's got a collection.
No one knows how tall I am either. You don't even know if I'm wearing skinny jeans or anything at all, actually, because I'm always sat in my chair in my videos. Well, so I could be wearing just my pants, to be honest, Mark.
If you're watching and he's sitting down, he doesn't have any shorts on. Come on, no. Sorry, Mark, for telling that secret on you. Yeah, so if I was to offer you a ticket to any band free, who would you pick?
Oh, that's
your peak. So any band in the world at your peak.
Well, can it be past or present, or is it got to be a band that's alive now?
Present. We can go back to Rolling Stones or Oasis, whoever.
Yeah, I'd probably say in that case probably Queen, with Freddie Mercury when he was around. I think Queen would be a great atmosphere. Some of their songs I remember blasting out on, karaoke when I was a kid. So yeah, probably Queen. Obviously they're still going in some part now with Brian May, etc. But I think as a full team back in the 80s, and I think Queen would be the one I'd go for.
Yeah, they'll be a good band, I think. Yeah. Sorry about this question. Do you wake up happy or sad?
Do I wake up happy or sad?
Yeah.
Usually sad initially if it's Monday to Friday. But I usually give myself quite a long time to get ready in the morning. I'm one of those people who I can't rush out of bed. So I can't just, rush out of bed and go straight to work. I've got to give myself to have a shower, have a proper breakfast, maybe watch a bit of the news in the morning, maybe a little bit of talk sport on the radio potentially. So I'm usually okay by the time I get to work, or I'm getting to do what I'm doing if it's a weekend. But I'm probably a little bit grumpy maybe for the first 5 minutes in the morning.
So you're not a morning person, then you're not full of joy, full of beans.
I'm probably more of a noon person. Yeah, maybe more than the morning person. Yeah.
What's your earliest memory?
Oh wow, it's not a great one actually. It's my mum pushing me down a pushchair, and she was on some steps, and I think the pram, and obviously you're talking here the early 90s, the pram hit like a crack in like the pavement, and I went flying out of the pram to my almost demise. And I do remember that somehow. I don't know why, but I must have been 2 or 3. But yeah, that's a memory. It just sticks in my mind really. So I would have liked to give you a bit more happy memory, but that's the one, unfortunately, Thomas.
That's good for the YouTube clip. I can see that now. How is this? You have joy in your life.
What's that? Sorry, Thomas.
You have joy in your life.
I do. Yeah, I've got a lovely wife. I have a job that I enjoy. I have good weekends away, and I have a few hobbies, including my YouTube channel that I enjoy doing as a pastime away from that as well. So yeah, I have joy in my life. Yeah, I'm a happy person, and I can definitely say that there are people definitely worse off than me. And I always treat each day as it comes. Really, I'm happy to be in a situation as I am.
So what pays the bills? What do you work as?
So I'm a key account manager for a big electronics brand. So the brand I work for is a company called Hisense, who are a massive Chinese TV white goods brand, electronics company essentially. I work in their white goods division as a key account manager. So essentially I manage the selling of a lot of the fridges, washing machines, ovens that you might see in the retail landscape, online or in store, into these big retailers. So without me, you wouldn't necessarily be able to buy that oven or fridge that you want on Black Friday this year. So there's a team of us. It's not just me, but I'm one of the account sales managers. So essentially work for Hisense, selling in product to UK retailers.
So could any accidentally fall off the back of a lorry so we can get a friend discount?
Accidentally, yeah. I'll have to see if I can get some discount codes for everyone watching. I'm not actually on the YouTube here. I'm on your stream, so I don't even know how many people are actually watching the stream right now. But hopefully not too many. Can't be giving out too many codes. But we'll see what we can do.
What's the meaning of life?
I think you'll have to ask Monty Python for that one.
No, like everyone answers that. You can't answer that.
I've not actually heard the answer to that one before, so unfortunately, I'm going down the route of stereotypical answer. Meaning of life, I think life's to be enjoyed. I don't think there's really a meaning to it. I think you just need to enjoy each day and do what you love doing. And I think I've watched other YouTubers say this recently, in analyzing videos, etc. I think you should never do something to appease someone else. You should always do it because you want to do it and because it's right for you. And I think if you live by that mentality and do things for you, obviously you've got to have some selflessness to life and look out for one another. But I think every decision needs to be made with yourself in mind, because you are the person who will that ultimately affect. So yeah, that's my answer.
Okay. When's the last time you cried and why?
I'd shed a little tear on Thursday for the Queen's death, and not so much because I'm a massive royalist, but just because everyone feels like they kind of know her, don't they? Really, so it's almost like losing a relative. So yeah, I wouldn't say I cried then. I think the last time I properly cried was probably when I got married this year, and I saw my lovely wife standing at the edge of the aisle. They made me turn around, so I couldn't see her. And then the registrar made me turn back to see her when she went to the end of the aisle, so I didn't see her coming. And I think because I didn't see the dress, I didn't see what she looked like, I think it was just massive emotion. I just burst into tears in the middle of the aisle. So that's probably the last time I cried, back in July, properly.
How did you guys meet?
We actually met on Tinder. So I might be the first person you've ever known that's actually a successful wife from Tinder. So just swiping away. Oh, you have met some?
You're the second. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, I was swiping away, and I think one of her photos was her. I think her fourth or fifth photo, so one of the later ones, was her in Ghana on kind of a gap year trip. I think before she started uni, next to like a crocodile or an alligator. Yeah. And my one-liner to kick off the conversation was, "How's life living with one arm?" And at first she was like, "What the hell are you talking about?" And I said, "Look at picture 4." And I think it took her still a few other seconds to figure out what I was trying to say to her. And then she realized, "Oh, right, okay, yeah, that's the joke you're playing there." And ultimately, she thought it was funny enough to stick around and message me back and give me her number. And then one date led to the next, and 6, 7 years later, we're now married. So there you go.
All right. You're a very romantic person, that people in the chat are saying. With Tinder. Lowest point in your life?
I've been quite fortunate. I've not had any massive low points in my life, to be honest. So I'm fortunate in that sense that I've had no massive bereavement so far in my life. So I find it difficult to answer that one, to be honest, Thomas. We all have good and bad days, but I couldn't really think of a lowest point in my life. But I can probably answer the second part of that question. Yeah. Which is what makes you really angry. I drive a lot with my job, especially on previous jobs. I used to be a territory sales manager, so I used to back up the miles quite significantly in previous roles and do a lot of motorway miles. And I think people who just don't know how to use the road, middle lane hoggers, people that indicate, that really frustrates me, and I'd probably say that makes me the most angry. And obviously, the major thing is people using their phones while driving. If I'm seeing someone using a phone while driving, and it's significantly distracting them from doing what they need to do, that really frustrates me. So I think as a whole answer to summarize that, yeah, bad drivers, people who don't follow the rules of the road, really makes me angry. Yeah, like Mark the Angry Man he used to be before he became the Pondering Man. Maybe I should open a new leaf like Mark does and become more a ponderer rather than an angry person.
Okay. Hi, Vanessa. Thanks for joining. Have you been arrested?
I haven't. No, I'm clean as a whistle. Unfortunately, Thomas, nothing interesting to tell you really. Yeah, I'm just trying to think if I've ever been pulled over by the police for any reason. I was once involved in a multi-car collision when I was out with friends. We were just out on a drive when I was a bit younger, and one of my friends was driving a bit too quickly behind me. I think he was trying to test out the speed of his new car, and I'd stopped at a junction, and he kept going. Essentially, went to the back of me. He tried to swerve out of the way, and his car flipped on its roof. I'm laughing because this is years ago, and he was completely fine. And I had to drag him out of his vehicle, essentially, his girlfriend, before the police arrived. And so I actually had to go to the ambulance and to get checked over because my car actually was hit at the back quite significantly. Went to the front of another car that was waiting at the junction as well. So I was kind of sandwiched between two vehicles. That was the only time I really had any involvement with the police, because I had to go to the police station and log a statement. And my friend had to go on a driving awareness course for not being careful. Yeah, but that wasn't my fault. So, but other than that, no, I've not really had any involvement with the police, unfortunately. So there we go. Hi, Martin. I know that guy.
Yeah, I didn't recognize Martin.
Yeah, he's one of my ex-colleagues from when he used to work at Samsung before I joined Hisense. He works, and his young son Thomas as well, who's actually you have to remind me where you've got the house in Ireland, Martin. I can't remember, but he's got a house somewhere in the north. west of Ireland, not far from the border. And his son and his wife spend a lot of time over there.
Okay.
So yeah, you'll have to. I'll probably put it in the comments in a second. But yeah, he's one of my ex-colleagues, is Martin.
That's good. Have you overcome any bad habits? So obviously you still drink a little bit. Smoking.
Bad habits.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I have a tendency to try and joke a lot, and I try and make light of a lot of situations. So I'm quite known for making puns. If anyone's seen my videos, anyone watching this who's seen my videos, you'll know that I try and put a lot of humor into my videos, and I try and do puns and make it a little bit lighthearted, and really try not to focus on the beer too much and focus on other things that make the video interesting. So yeah, I try and make light of all situations, and sometimes to my detriment. Sometimes I don't read a situation well enough, and I might try and be a bit too jokey, and it might not, work as well with people who don't really know me as well as others closer to me. And then what's weird about me? I'm very weird, Thomas. There's a lot of things that are weird about me. I mean, like I said, you watch my videos, you'll see that all those traits come out in a lot of the videos I do, especially as they progress and I get a bit more confident in front of the camera. I'm quite happy just to say what I want, really. I think a lot of people actually just watch my bloopers at the end. So a lot of people don't even watch my videos. They'll find I've uploaded something, scroll right to the end of the video and watch the bloopers, because that's usually when you get the most weird content from me, where I've, messed up a take, or I've potentially, rambled on a bit too much, or something's happened in the background that was quite funny that I managed to catch on camera, and I've managed to put it in the bloopers at the end. So I know Martin and Thomas for sure, who are watching right now, love the bloopers on my videos, and that's where you see most of the weird moments from my end, for sure.
Well, see, that's why you should put your bloopers as shorts, and then you will probably share them. People will watch them.
Yeah, I guess the problem with putting bloopers at the start, it'll ruin the content. And my videos are quite cryptic, so I'll never share what beer I'm trying, and I'll never tell you what country I'm doing next, generally, just so it keeps people on their toes for next time. I'll give you a hint later what my next video is, but we'll go from there.
Okay, what's the next saying? Thousands. Can't see. That's for being.
I'm just reading Vanessa Kitty's comment there.
Yeah, that's I'm reading too. I don't know what's about. What's the reason? Okay. Okay. Yeah. Most treasured memory. Obviously, you got married, so I think you're going to say something about that.
My best childhood memory.
Most treasured memory.
Oh, I didn't get married as a child. That would have been a bit weird. Most treasured memory. No, we'll try and pick something different. I think my most treasured memory is probably, if anyone on the stream has ever been to the Blue Mountains in Australia, it's a little bit like the Grand Canyon of the Southern Hemisphere. So it's very similar to the Grand Canyon in terms of it takes your breath away. And I wouldn't say it was a treasured memory, but it's definitely a memory that sticks well with me. I went to Australia in 2017 and went to the Blue Mountains, which is about an hour west of Sydney. If you go east of Sydney, you end up in the sea. So it's definitely west of Sydney. Yeah, it's beautiful. It took my breath away. It's almost like looking into a postcard, and it doesn't all really look real. And then also, if you want a view on a different side of the world as well, New York. I once went to New York in 2008. I've been since then, but there's a view in New York from the top of the Rockefeller Center.
Yeah.
Which is not a very well-known building, actually. Most people go up the Empire State Building. That's the worst thing to do when you go to New York, because the most iconic building in New York is the Empire State Building. So the only time you can't see the Empire State Building is if you sat on it. So that's the worst place to go if you want to have a good view of New York. So go to the top of the Rockefeller Center. The viewpoint is called Top of the Rock. And there, it's pretty much slap bang in the middle of Manhattan. So you can clearly see Statue of Liberty on one side and the Freedom Tower, which used to be the two towers, of course, in that area. And you can then very clearly see right in front of you the Empire State Building and then up to kind of the Bronx and stuff like that. It's a brilliant viewpoint, and it must be the best viewpoint in New York. And although it wasn't nature, it was more urban. That also took my breath away as well, and that's something I remember a lot about. So, yeah, that travel tip for you guys. If you go to New York anytime soon, Top of the Rock, do that. Don't do top of the Empire State Building. I've done both, and Top of the Rock is so much better.
Isn't it say too? You take the Staten Ferry, which is free, to see the Empire, the Statue of Liberty. It's actually the better bit. You don't actually don't pay the $60 to get to the Statue of Liberty. You take Staten Ferry, which is free, and then you can see it. And I clearly, I think you have to be on a certain side of the boat. But
Yeah. I think it's got like a guided tour, isn't it? If you go on the tour, because I think you go to like the island as well, don't you, Ellis Island? But I agree with you there. It's probably not worth $60. So certainly, yeah.
I think I heard some YouTube video watched ages ago. Yeah, Martin said Korea. I've been to Korea. Korea is a brilliant country. I'd love to go back. North Korea.
Yeah, I've been before as well. Yeah, I think Martin's alluded to that because he went the year before me when we both worked for Samsung. I went the year after him in 2019. That was good. That was brilliant. But the only reason why I didn't mention that, Martin, is because I was so jet lagged. I had like 2 hours sleep in 3 days, and each flight's like 18 hours each way. So I just have memories of being absolutely exhausted during that trip, but it was a great time. And it's just it was just too short, really. It was just a work trip that was kind of also a bit of fun thrown in there as well. So yeah.
Yeah. First crush.
First crush.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was actually, if anyone's at a certain age like me, obviously I'm quite young compared to the demographic of most beer tubers. I'm 30 this year.
I want to say someone you actually knew, and then you can move on to celebrity. So,
all right, okay. Someone I actually knew was probably someone I knew at school when I was like 8 years old. There's no point in saying a name because it's not relevant. And then in terms of like a celebrity or a kind of a crush based on popular culture, it was probably the Pink Power Ranger from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, which was a really popular kind of, live action kids show from the late 90s. So I would have been kind of 6 or 7 during that period when that was in its heyday. So the Pink Power Ranger was pretty fit, to be honest. And I used to really like her. So yeah, she was probably one of my first crushes from a pop culture point of view. Yeah.
I'd say, you said beside the answer same. I said that's got to be interesting.
Yeah, I think some of the comments are a little bit behind the actual stream, aren't they? But yeah, Vanessa knows a little bit about New York, so maybe she can share some of her tips as well. I only know as much as I know from going there twice, so I'm definitely not local by any means.
No, I only know it from I've never been to America, so I don't know.
You're not missing too much, mate. What's that?
Do you believe in ghosts?
No, I don't believe in ghosts, but I am very fascinated by the documentaries and things that try and prove that they exist. So I'm more than happy to sit down with someone who does believe in ghosts and talk to them about it and get absolutely freaked out by some of the stories. And I'm more than happily watch shows if they're, semi-legitimate. But personally, I don't believe in ghosts. I think naturally, if you think about, how life works and how biology works, it just doesn't make any sense logically for me that supernatural beings would exist. But it's nice to think that they do, and it's nice to have that conversation with people who do think that they exist. And I'm very open-minded. I'm more than happy to discuss it. But personally, I don't believe in ghosts.
Okay, so what are people seeing then?
What are people seeing? It could be a light phenomenon. It could be, their brain playing tricks on them. It could be, in some cases, like UFO spotters, them being a bit mental in some cases. But yeah, I don't want to offend anyone who's maybe into that sort of stuff.
That's what. You're saying, and
Well, I didn't say that, did I? I was saying in some cases, some of the sightings have been proven that way, haven't they? But I think it could be any number of things. But if I'm happy to be proven wrong, let's put it that way.
okay. Are we alone?
What's that? Sorry, Thomas.
Are we alone?
Oh, as in aliens?
I don't know. You can take the question any way you want.
Definitely not. No, the probability of there being other life in the universe is so high. You know, there's bound to be other life forms around the universe. There could even be an Earth 2.0 somewhere within our galaxy, never mind the universe, where there's a very similar level of life. So I don't want to go into too deep into this answer here, but yeah, I'm 99% confident that there's other life in the universe, and maybe even in our galaxy, and maybe even in our solar system. Well, not in our solar system, but in the Milky Way, that's for sure. And I think I'll just leave it there.
What do you think aliens have visited Earth?
Potentially. I mean, the Earth's been 6 billion years or something like that. So the probability of maybe some extraterrestrial vessel, bypassing or maybe flirting around our solar system is very likely. So yeah, they may have visited Earth. I see no reason to believe they have. There's some things I don't really understand, like Stonehenge. I have no idea how that was created and how they managed to put those blocks there. But they did it somehow. I don't think that's aliens. I think that is definitely man. But how they did it, I can't answer it. Pardon?
Pyramids weren't built by aliens then.
What, we've been visited by aliens?
No, the pyramids in Egypt weren't built by aliens then.
Oh, Egypt, the pyramids.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's just brilliant engineering of a time when you could, get free labor and have an unlimited workforce of people to create a vision. So I think the pyramids were definitely built by man, but the vision and the craftsmanship and architecture that went into that's amazing, isn't it? And I don't think we could recreate that again in the modern world, really, just because of the sheer effort that must have gone into that.
Yeah, and the way everything lines up and the sun can enter the chambers.
Yeah, well, if you watch the second Transformers film, then yeah, it is made by aliens. Yeah, it's like a sun harvester, isn't it? And I'm sure there's a lot of other films as well that play on that kind of narrative that the pyramids and Egypt is based off some sort of alien abduction or alien visit at some point in the last few thousand years.
Yeah, I think he's right. The universe is vast, so we don't know what's out there.
Yeah.
If you had opportunity to go to Mars, would you go?
Go to Mars?
Yeah, say Elon Musk wants you to be one of the people who want to go to Mars and set up a civilization. Would you go?
No, I think there'd be people who'd be more willing to do it. I think people who maybe are quite willing to leave family and friends quite happily to potentially die out there if it's going to be a potentially long-term thing. Bearing in mind, it takes something like 3 months to fly to Mars, I think, if I'm not mistaken, or even maybe longer than that. So, it might take you a year to get there and back in travel time alone, never mind the resources it'll take to get there and back. You may never leave. So I think for me, it wouldn't be for me, even if it was a free ticket. And I'm sure there'd be a lot of people around, the world who would, jump at that chance, who'd really love to stamp their mark and, be a part of history. But for me, I think I'm quite happy on this planet, if I'm going to be honest.
Would you go up for one of them space holidays? So they half an hour, you go up.
I'd definitely go into space, that's for sure. Yeah, I don't think I could afford it. We could probably put like a little bit of a super fan thing up if you want, and see if we can drum up a bit of money for me to get there. But
once you get monetized on YouTube and you make your absolute billions,
super chats. I was say, yeah. Let's get some super chats on, Thomas, and see how much we can drum up to get us both up to the outer ozone layer. Maybe we might get that far. But yeah, it'd be interesting going to space, the space station or something like that. But there you go, Mark. 7 months. I wasn't that far off. I said between 3 and 6 months. So yeah, I'll be happy to go to space, but maybe not Mars or the moon.
So radiation is going to kill everyone on Mars, I think, is it? I thought Elon Musk would, or was it? You're not going to nuke it, so it starts an atmosphere or something, I think, or something about that, wasn't it? You're going to take drugs. Yeah, drugs.
Drugs.
Yeah.
But is it just an open question?
Yeah, open question. I like open questions.
Okay, is this called tapped? Now, other than paracetamol, ibuprofen, and Lemsip, I think I'm pretty clean, to be honest, Thomas. I'm a bit of a straight shooter, to be honest. Apart from the odd university halls experience. I'm pretty clean. Never really tried drugs. Never smoked cigarettes. Never really interested in me, to be honest. So yeah, and that's as far as I go with that one.
Okay. Legalization of drugs, yes or no?
I think certain communities will benefit from it than others. I think certain countries benefit from others. I think in the UK we've got a good balance. I think the issue we've got with drug legislation in the UK is it just causes people to seek criminality, to be able to, to get that high or to make a living if they're the ones actually supplying that. So I think it'd take away the criminal nature, and it would make an industry out of it and probably bring a lot of tax money into the UK. But personally, I don't think it's worth it for the detrimental effect it might have on the community, allowing drugs to just become fair game. I think, things like, class B and C drugs for medical purposes are completely legitimate. But I'm quite happy with the way that the law is at the moment in the UK. I just think it could be policed a little bit better, but that's probably a story for another day. Maybe we'd have to have a whole hour on that topic potentially.
Okay. So if there's a referendum tomorrow to legalize all drugs, so you go down to there could be a local government shop that you could buy your weed, your line of cocaine, your heroin, your psychedelic. No.
No, I wouldn't sign that. I'd probably sign against it if I was going to be honest. I'd either not sign it or sign against it if there's an option. So yeah.
Okay. Do you think there is positives? Because do you think the positives are not good enough then? Because in America, the crime has dropped. With the states are more liberal.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. There are many positives as well. I just think the negatives would be much higher, and I think opening up some of those psychedelics and drugs up to the open community without any reprimand would potentially, be a very, very bad thing. So it's not my decision to make laws, but I certainly wouldn't sign legislation to say yes, do it.
What about just cannabis then?
Cannabis is a different story. I think cannabis is different. I think a little bit like I went back to the conversation about, drink driving and, not being a responsible driver. I think as long as people aren't going anywhere near the wheel and aren't doing anything responsible alongside smoking cannabis, personally, I couldn't really care either way. I wouldn't smoke it and I probably wouldn't partake in it, but it wouldn't really bother me too much if cannabis became legal. And I don't think it would really affect the community too much, because I think a lot of people smoke it anyway, just behind closed doors. So yeah.
Yeah, Vanessa, you're right. Everything does have a price, but I think it's out there. I don't think banning it hasn't worked, so I don't think we have to find some other way. We'll go on something lighter. First car.
First car. It was a Mark 6 Ford Fiesta pre-facelift, if anyone's into cars on here. It was a silver Zetec 1.4 petrol, so that's the good engine. 80 brake horsepower or something. That's as new. It was a 03 plate, I think, and I bought it in 2013. I think is when I passed my test. I've been driving almost 10 years now. So yeah, little silver demon. That particular car was written off within 6 months. Not the same one I was talking about earlier. It's a different car. So yeah, that I aquaplaned that car when I was braking at a red light, and yeah, let's leave it there.
So you passed your test first time?
No, and let's leave that there as well.
Just the fun. Well, I can tell you it took me 3 times, so you can't be as bad as me.
Yeah, let's move on.
Okay. So what favorite car then? So if I could give you any car in the universe, what car would you like?
Oh, all right. Any car in the universe? What for a daily driver? Because for me, I don't really see the point in the supercar because I don't think you can drive it on a daily basis. So it definitely wouldn't be a supercar like a Lamborghini or a Ferrari or a.
I'll give you one car then, and I'll give you one daily driver. So you take
All
it
right,
to
okay.
a party event, and then you can.
So daily driver would probably be an Audi A8 limousine. I think they're just opulent vehicles, smooth drivers, not too pretentious like a Rolls Royce or a Bentley. I just think they're nice cars, comfortable. You can also be chauffeured in your own car if you wish. So that'd be my daily driver, I think. And then the supercar that I think I would have if I could have two vehicles or even more. That's a bit more difficult because there's so many cars, but it'd probably be something like a Ferrari 488. Definitely in red, because if you get a Ferrari, you can't have it in black or yellow or anything stupid like that. You've got to have it in Ferrari red. I wouldn't get one of like the crazy Ferraris, like the LaFerrari, because I think they're a little bit too impractical. But something like I think the Ferrari 488 is good enough to drive more regularly, but also fast enough to really show off and drive through places, revving your engine up, in first gear like most of the idiots do nowadays.
How long before you crash it?
Yeah, before I crash it, yeah.
What's on your bucket list then?
What's on my bucket list? Okay,
Yeah.
There's a few countries I'd like to go to. So again, people watching the stream might potentially been to these places. So I'd like to go to Canada. Never been there before. I've heard it's really nice and beautiful, especially up further north. So I'd like to go to Canada. Never been. As you know, I've been to the States a few times, but never further north than that. I'd also like to go to Southeast Asia as well. Likes of Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand, Laos, those sort of places. All the kind of places I've sampled beers from, to be honest, but I've never actually visited. I think it'd be quite a nice culture out there, just to kind of eat the street food and live the culture and try and go somewhere a little bit, less Western for a change. They're probably the two places I want to go, and then also Costa Rica in Central America as well. Myself and Emily, my wife, have wanted to go there for some time now. And while we're still quite young, I think we want to go out there and do some activities like zip lining and trekking and, forest walks, stuff like that. Magic, I've actually been to Korea before. It's great. I would go again, but because I've already been before, I'd stick to that. I'd stick to somewhere else for now.
Yeah, well, I was in Busan, and I sent my college to the university over there, sent to Busan for a couple of weeks, and it's amazing. During the summer was
yeah
brilliant. Yeah, so I anyone going to Asia, I'd say go to Korea. They're so friendly. Last thing you Googled.
Last thing I Googled. Let's have a look. 1 second. Hopefully it's adult friendly. Hopefully it's friendly. Yeah, it was it was really boring actually. It was a product code of an oven for me to price check another retailer. That would have been at work earlier on today. Apologies, that's quite boring, isn't it?
Okay. Last online purchase. Yeah. Last online purchase. If you can,
online purchase.
Yeah.
What was it?
I watched Shop, and that's that.
It was a beer for my challenge. It was not the one coming up, the one I'm editing right now. It's the next one after that. It came through the post, I think yesterday. So that was my last purchase. It was a beer from a European country, and that's all I will say because I don't want to spoil the next episode.
Okay. Yeah, if you want. If you're standing in front of your 16-year-old self, what advice would you give them? And ignore the last part of it.
Get a haircut. Get a haircut, you mophead.
Would he listen to you?
No, he'd probably say, "Oh, I can't be bothered. It's expensive. I want to spend it on sweets." No, I don't know. What's that?
Come on, you gotta say something more than getting a haircut.
What an actual like philosophical thing to say to try and give myself life advice for my future self. Yeah, I'd probably say to them, because I'd probably say focus on your studies. Don't let other things distract you. Because what essentially happened to me after high school was I was one of the top performers. I was kind of top 5% in my year. And I think as I went through like sixth form in university, I kind of dropped off a bit and lost a bit of passion in education and didn't really put as much effort in. And I did okay, and I got a degree and stuff like that. But I think I could have probably gone to a better university if I'd have really put more effort in during that 2 years after I finished school. So, yeah, I think keep your head down. And what's that? Sorry,
cop on and don't be an idiot. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess cop on is an Irish phrase for get on with it. I'd never heard that before, but I'm guessing that's what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's worked out well now. I've got a decent job. I enjoy my life. I own my own house, so I can't complain too much. But certainly, I could have made a few different more decisions to maybe go to a better university or whatever it may be.
Yeah, I think that's good advice for yourself. Worst mistake you ever made?
Oh, you could have prepared me for this one. I could have given you a really good answer if I had time to think about this one, to be honest. It's really difficult.
Other than coming on this, other than coming on this YouTube live, you can't answer that. I'm sorry. That can't be a mistake.
Yeah. So what was the question? The worst mistake you've ever made?
Yeah, biggest mistake you made in your life.
Yeah, it's difficult because I've made a lot of small mistakes, but I don't really think I've made any kind of massive whoppers that have affected things. So
of yours in the chat.
Supporting Leeds United, yeah, that's a big one, isn't it? Yeah, I really can't answer that one, to be honest. I've made some, comments in the past before. Like I said, I'm known for kind of trying to put humor in situations, like I've said previously in this interview. But I can't really say I've made any massive mistakes which have changed the course of time itself. So I can't answer that one. I'm really sorry. I can't.
Okay. Perfect day. So if you had unlimited money and unlimited resources and you could do anything for one day, what would you do?
One day. Wow. One day. Well, you've only got so much time in the one day, haven't you? I'd probably take my wife to probably somewhere in the Yorkshire Dales, local to us. We can get there within a reasonable time. Have a really nice pub lunch, few drinks, and stay in a really, really posh, like 5-star manor hotel with a spa. A package including like a massage and a steam room, sauna, full works. I think that's enough for me at this stage. I think if you're going to give me more than a day, I might pick a different answer, but one day I think that's perfect for me right now.
Sid has said, I thought said that United beating Leeds 10-0, is it?
Are you a Manchester United fan, Sid?
No, it's Liverpool.
You've got Liverpool's crest on your badge there.
Yeah,
looks like a liver bird.
I'm trying to get him out of the closet. to actually say.
Oh, he's saying they beat Man U 10-0. I understand. Okay. He's answering a question.
Yeah.
All right, I see. Yeah, oh, and Leeds win as well. Yeah, Leeds win the Premier League on the same day as well. While we're sitting there watching it on the big screen, while sipping my champagne.
And Champions League and FA Cup are all the same day, yeah?
Yeah, and England also wins as well. But let's not go through that because I know there's Scottish and Irish people on this, so let's not delve into the whole England thing right now.
But Georges, if you win it, you win it. We're happy for you. Best present you ever received and your worst present you ever received?
Oh, wow. These questions really hit you hard, don't you? You don't have time to think about them. Best present I've ever received was... What was the second part of the question? I might answer the second part first while I think about the first part.
Worst present you've ever received.
Worst present I've ever received. Oh, it's a difficult one because you don't want to offend anyone, do you, by saying that? Because there might be people watching.
No one watches this. You're okay. No one's gonna watch.
Yeah, I can't answer. You put me on the spot. If I'd have known in advance, I would have been able to think about them. But it's very difficult to think about I can think about a lot of presents I've given and I've received but I can't think of anything that stands out massively in either of those counts, really, unfortunately, Thomas.
Okay, well then, what's the best present you think you have given someone?
I've given someone.
Yeah. Other than giving your wife presents and your girlfriend, or what? When you choose your girlfriend?
Yeah. Probably. We bought my dad this really expensive whiskey. Away from kind of like emotional gifts. If we're talking about physical presents, physical gifts. Yeah. Me and my brother about 3 or 4 years ago got my dad a really expensive Scotch whiskey, which he's actually not drunk to this day, which you could tell on his face he was delighted when we got him it. I don't think he's ever going to drink it, to be honest, but that suits me. That's fine. He can sell it when he's old. Yeah, probably that. I think in terms of the way that it made him feel and that, I think it was a really nice Scotch whiskey. It was a Glendronach, if anyone's heard of that. I think Martin, if he's still watching, will have heard of it. So it's a Scottish one, I think, from the Highlands somewhere, but really, really good reserve and very expensive, but he seemed to like it. So there you go.
Yeah, that's a piece of artwork basically bought from. He's never going to.
Yeah, it's not necessarily the most expensive present I've ever given, but I think the way that it made him feel and he didn't expect it. I think it was one of those things, really.
Yeah. If you could pick up a new skill instantly, what would it be?
Definitely be able to speak other languages. So either being bilingual, trilingual, or just be able to speak any language in the world on tap. That would be amazing. I think I'm a real big fan of if I go to a country, I will try my best to at least be polite and say hello, thank you, and try and order in the native tongue. I think it's quite rude, especially for people who are English speakers, to go to other countries and just assume that people could speak English. And I do try my best. I'm semi-proficient in German. I did it at school, so I can kind of get by in Germany. And I know various phrases in other languages, but I'm certainly not fluent in any other language other than English. And sometimes it does affect me because I feel like I should really know more. But coming from an English speaking country, it's just so easy, isn't it, to be able to just get by in life without having to know another language. So certainly to be able to speak other languages, like Korean or Mandarin would be brilliant. I know a bit of Korean. I know Haseo is hello. Kamsahamnida is thank you. Bangapsumida is you're welcome. There you go. Oh, nice to meet you. Sorry.
Yeah, if you come to Ireland, say Pog Mahone, people, they'll really, really like you to say that. Pog Mahone.
Do any of your relatives or people you know speak Gaelic then? Or is that not really spoken very much?
There's few people. If you go to the other side of the country, you'll get more Irish-speaking areas. to speak it the whole time. Yeah. No, Barry can speak English, so um, who is someone who you really admire?
Someone I really admire. Another difficult one, isn't it? It's when you put me on the spot. It's so difficult. So I admire, and it's not, and there's probably people I admire more, but you put me on the spot. So there's a guy called Simon Jordan who was he was the ex chairman and owner of Crystal Palace, and he's at his own admission an absolute idiot. Really, he's full of himself and has really strange right wing views. He's a multi-millionaire who throws his weight around, and he has a show with Jim White on TalkSport every day at 10 o'clock on weekdays. Not trying to plug him in any way. I'm not any affiliated to TalkSport in any way. But he puts himself out there. He's more than happy for anyone to slag him off. And he will happily take any criticism and will give it straight back to people. And although most people won't agree with his views as an ex-chairman and multi-millionaire, I think the fact that he puts himself on a platform and he's there to be shot at, theoretically, I think I admire that because he's happy to take the abuse really from the fans, and he does give it back. To be fair, he's not the most admirable person in the world, but I personally admire him because he like I said, he's there to be shot at, and he's quite happy to take that and take it on the chin most of the time.
Yeah, well, I think that's pretty good. If you're put yourself out there and you're willing to take the criticism, it's something.
Yeah.
Have you ever broken any bones?
Have I broke many bones? I've fractured quite a few bones. So when I was a small child, I think I fractured my arm maybe 2 or 3 times. My brother tried to push me around the stairs. As you've heard earlier, my mum almost killed me by throwing me out of a pram. So yeah, I didn't have a great childhood in terms of bones, but you're quite flexible as a child, aren't you? So I think I fractured my arm maybe 2 or 3 times, and I had a little pot on, but I kept wiggling out of it. So didn't have a chance to heal properly. But I've never actually broken any bones. I once fell off my bike. I went into the side of a car at full speed. It was pulling out of a junction, and I was going down the road, and I went flying over the handlebars. And I don't know how I didn't break any bones. I did a little graze. But touch wood, I've not ever broke a bone up to now.
Okay, that's good. So the people who answered that question have said they've broken bones after answering this question on the channel. So,
right, great. Thanks very much. The curse is on me now, isn't it?
Yeah. If I was to hand you an envelope with your date of your death, would you open it?
So no, I'd burn it. I'd burn it. I'd throw it in the bin. I'd burn it. I'm really interested in knowing the unknown. For example, my wife she's a nurse, and she came back from work yesterday, and she's really, really good with gore, people being sick. She's really good at anything that most people would be sick at or find horrible. She can just take on the chin. But she sent me a message during the course of her working day on earlier in the week saying, I've just seen the most horrible thing. Even I had to vomit or whatever she put. And she came back and said, oh, do you want to know what I saw? And I said, no, I'm not interested. If it made you feel sick, then I don't want to know about it. And that's the same kind of element with the question you've got there in terms of would I read the envelope? Definitely not. I think what would happen then if I read that envelope is I'd just be counting down in my head. And I think life's worth living. And even if I live to 105 years old or whatever it may be, every single day I will be thinking, oh, this is how many days I've got left to the day that I die. So, yeah, I'm quite happy to firstly move on to this question because it's quite morbid. And secondly, burn the envelope.
Well, the next question is a bit more morbid. I'm sorry for this.
All right. Well, stick with us, viewers.
I asked everyone, if you could share a meal with 4 individuals who are dead, who would it be? And if you
dead?
Your family. Yeah.
All right. All right. Let's just think about this then. So hopefully the viewers will give me a bit of time to think about this because. So I would probably pick Nelson Mandela because I feel like he would have a lot of stories to tell, and he's such a gracious human being who fought a lot, and I think it'd just be great to speak to him. I would also probably have on my table it'd probably quite interesting to have one of the ex-US presidents, one of the older US presidents. Maybe or even maybe someone from the independence agreement. So maybe someone like is it John Adams? Is that right? Who signed the Declaration of Independence? Yeah, he'd be quite interesting to have on the table, just to get a view on what he thinks of the kind of states in that point of time. You know, so someone maybe from the American Revolution in the late 18th century would be quite interesting. So someone like John Adams, or a George Washington, someone like that potentially would be interesting. So that's two on my table. It'd be interesting to have someone who's maybe done bad things as well, so I can question them on that and ask them why. If it's an open forum, I'm not going to get me, someone like Ivan the Terrible or someone like that who would have a really interesting life and have really really strange views on medieval, well not medieval, but the kind of dark ages, what we're talking about 1,000 years ago. Would be interesting to know kind of what his views on life are, and why he killed so many people over the course of his reign, and just question him on that, really. If of course he speaks English, which I don't think he did, but again, I can speak all the languages, it doesn't make a difference. And then finally, probably someone who's achieved a lot, probably in their lifetime, from a more modern era. So
would you go to Queen? Just after dying?
No, I don't know if I would pick the Queen. No, not that I don't like the Queen. I probably wouldn't, but I would like to have a female on the table, just to have that diversity of gender. Probably someone who's achieved something a lot in sport. So someone like Denise Lewis or Jessica Ennis-Hill. I think they'd be interesting to speak to and just see what it takes to be the best.
Yeah, that's an interesting grouping of people. Now, the most interesting part: what are you going to serve them? So, 3-course meal.
All right. Well, I probably said what I deem to be the best 3-course meal going. So I think we'd have to start with the classic, which is a prawn cocktail.
Okay.
Followed by probably a really nice fish dish. And I appreciate we've got a prawn for starter, but it's my meal, so I'll choose what I want. Probably really nice fish dish, so like a tuna steak or something like that. It's really, really nice tuna if you have it properly. Or swordfish, which is also really nice if you've never tried it before. And then for dessert, it'd have to be the classic apple crumble or something like that with custard.
What are we drinking then? What are you picking for a drink?
What would I have, or what would I serve them, is the question.
You're the guest. You're the host. You get started.
Well, I'd probably have my favourite beer I've tried so far in my series. Probably 5 bottles of Weihenstephan Hefeweizen, which is, as far as I'm concerned, the best wheat beer going. So yeah, that's probably what I'd pick.
Okay, so, for anyone who has any questions, put them in the chat. If you had a warning label, what would it be?
If I had what, sorry?
Warning label, what would it be?
If I had a warning label?
Yeah.
Warning, may contain cheese.
Okay.
That's in reference to my jokes, if you didn't get it already.
Yeah, I did get it. What's your biggest weakness then, other than your cheesy jokes?
My biggest weakness?
Yeah.
I think think my biggest weakness would be my inability to take no for an answer. So I'm in sales. So I think I started out in sales, and I find it very difficult to understand what no means when it comes to trying to sell something to a prospective customer. So I find it very difficult when I don't make the sale, and try and unpack why that particularly may have happened. So yeah. Oh, hi Scott. How are you doing? If you're still on.
Thanks for doing this. I know you're babysitting a dog or something. Yeah, I think that's why he's not doing the live tonight, or for some reason. Yeah, so I've asked you a question tonight. What have I missed? I've asked you a fairly broad amount of questions. What have I missed, Adam? What have I missed?
What have you missed?
Yeah.
Well, I guess you could ask me more about my channel. I guess the main reason why you got me on was to maybe talk a bit about kind of future plans for the channel and what kind of got me into it, etc. So I don't know if there's anything particularly you want me to talk about the channel or.
Yeah. What are the future plans then? Because you said you're cutting down to kind of 2 a week or 2 a month. I mean, and if you get the 100 beers, I know you're saying you're coming up from the 50. So do you have any special plans?
Yeah, I think my channel is mainly the 100 beer challenge. So, I do odd videos here and there. I did Scott and Wonders, supermarket challenge. And if any more of those come up, I'll happily take part and put my entry up. But the mainstay of my channel is the 100 beers challenge. So the 100 beers on the grid I discussed earlier in the interview. So yeah, I think when I get to 50, which is my benchmark right now, and I'm pretty confident I can get there without much help based on some of the ones I've got left that I can probably source somewhere. I think I'm probably going to do a bit of an appeal video, whether that be a live or just a compilation. I'm not too sure.
I think we're talking before that, and I think if you did a live, it'd be much better to get out there.
Yeah. I've got some beers on this which are impossible to get hold of in the UK, even like the resellers that live here. You've got like, for example, I did Hungary. If you've seen the Hungary episode, I actually found a Hungarian beer, food reseller that was based in the UK, who so happened to import Borsodi, which was the Hungarian entry on that occasion, into the UK from Hungary. Otherwise, you can't get it. So, but there are a lot of countries that just don't have that facility. So it's going to be a case of having to appeal to my subscribers and ask for help from other YouTubers to spread the word to see if I can maybe get some of these really obscure beers sent to me. There's some really difficult ones. And again, I'm more than happy to put a video out in future on my channel to document and go through each of the ones that I think are achievable to get, which I just can't get on my own. Because when I get past 50, it's going to really become a slog for me. I'll probably never reach 100, as I've said earlier. Some are just, so small in terms of their reach globally that, I'd have to literally be in that country to get it. And even then I might struggle. But we'll keep going. We'll see how we get to. And then I'll keep putting specials out where I can. And, and if anyone ever helps me get a beer, I will always shout them out. So we had Beardy Beer Reviews. He helped me out. He sent me 2 beers recently. So the Venezuela and Latvia ones, they were both sent by him, and he got a bit of a shout out. And Matt the Pondering Man, there he is. Matt's helped me too as well in the past as well. Yeah.
So what's next? What's the next beer that you're looking to get people to help you out with? Or is there a few that you can just mention offhand?
There's one I've been trying to get for a while, which I think is achievable, but I just can't find it. So if anyone on here is from America or Canada, it would be very helpful. I'm looking for the Canadian beer, which is called Labatt Blue. So it's Labatt Blue. And that apparently is the entry on the grid for Canada. Now, I've looked in a lot of places, and there are a few Canadian resellers in the UK, but they all sell Moosehead, which seems to be the most popular.
I've had Moosehead.
It seems to be the most popular kind of exported Canadian beer, but it's not the one that's apparently the most popular in Canada itself. So yeah, Labatt Blue is one I'm really struggling to get hold of, but I think will be quite achievable if someone's on the channel who maybe has Canadian friends or has ties to North America somewhat. There's a few more as well, but again, I'm happy to leave that to my channel rather than, going for every single beer on the list. And the next 2 beers I struggle to get, but they're coming up soon, and I've had them delivered this week. So we've got at least 2 more on the list yet to be challenged.
So what are the top 2 beers do you think you will never be able to get on the list?
So there's Muri beer from Pakistan. As I've said previously, Pakistan is a 95% Muslim country, so 95% of the population don't drink alcohol. And there's only one brewery in the whole of Pakistan, which is the Muri Brewery, and they only have one beer, Muri beer. So predictably, that's the most popular beer in Pakistan because it's the only one. So you can, I don't think, as I said earlier, I don't think you can actually export beer out of Muslim countries, or at least not out of Pakistan, without breaking the law. So, and I'm not planning any trips to Pakistan anytime soon. So that's probably one that I'll never be able to get. And there's also a few from like random countries like Tahiti and like random parts of Africa, which I just think will be almost impossible, like Ghana, etc. Yeah, Vanessa, though, you'd have to send it to me, so you'd have to be prepared to send to me. So as long as the post isn't too expensive, I'm happy to pay you for the excise duty, but it depends on how expensive that is for you to send that across to the UK. It's
$9 for a 12-pack, so
yeah, it's going to cost a lot more to send me the package though than $9.
I think for this, if they can go over, I don't know if I'll link the channel. Yeah, I'll link the channel afterwards, or if Vanessa message me, you can hook up and see what it'll work.
Yeah. Well, if anyone's not seen my channel before, at the start of every video, every one of my 100 beers, I actually do like a little like pan of the grid. So if you pause the video, you can actually probably see a lot of the beers on there that I've not scratched off yet. And then you can see from future videos whether I've already done them or not yet. So I've done 46 of 100 so far. I've got 47 and 48 already in the house, ready to be drunk and videoed and edited. But I'm going to be struggling. 52 more to go, and I'm really going to be struggling. So,
there's a question, Scott. I'll let you answer first.
All right.
What do you want from YouTube?
It's a hobby for me, Scott. So I just want to enjoy it for myself. I saw the video that I think Dave the Blue Man put out recently, and he had a really transient quote. And I think you also watched that and also agreed with the point in terms of do YouTube for you, not for anyone else. And for me, it started as a hobby. It still is. I've only got 100 subscribers. I'm by no means a big YouTuber. I do it because it's a hobby. I enjoy the editing and creating the videos and writing the scripts and sourcing the beers. If my channel blows up or I get a few more subscribers, then happy days. But I'm certainly not in it for the money. I'm in it just to enjoy it, and because it's a hobby of mine that I really do enjoy doing. So there's my answer.
Yeah, well, this is what I'm in it for, talking to someone that I would never talk to other for YouTube. So that's what I'm in for. Conversations with different people, getting different points of view. So I hope that answers your question, Scott. So if anyone has any questions, pop in the chat and we'll answer them. And yeah, give it a couple more minutes. I've wasted enough time. So what do you think of YouTube then? Do you think if there's good parts or bad parts, or?
Yeah, there are some bad parts. I think it depends what community you sit yourself in. I think the comment sections can be volatile. And what I tend to always do when there's any other YouTube videos, I'll always go to the comment section and see what people are saying about it, especially if something controversial comes up.
Yeah.
I think it can be very volatile. People behind keyboards can be the worst people, and it can bring the worst out in you if you're behind a keyboard. You could be the nicest person ever, get behind a keyboard, and you act like an absolute knobhead. So put it nicely. Trying to be as PC as possible at 9:49 on a Friday evening. But we're after the watershed, so I can probably say what I want, but I won't. So I think people can be very nasty on YouTube. And I think that is one problem about getting bigger. The one thing I'm worried about is if my channel does grow even slightly, that people will find my videos who necessarily might never have wanted to find them. They might find them just naturally, just by recommendation. And that's when you start getting some comments from people who really aren't interested in watching your videos. They just want to criticize your mannerisms, the way you are, the way you speak, what you're talking about, what you think about that topic. You know, people always have their opinion, and that's fine. But sometimes people should keep their opinions to themselves if it's not going to be something positive or something that's going to actually help that YouTuber to thrive going forward. So that's my opinion on YouTube as a whole. But on the whole, I do enjoy it. I have YouTube Premium, so I watch it quite a lot. So I must watch it enough to warrant paying you know, quite a bit of money a month to not watch adverts and have it streamed from my my TV. So I watch it probably more than I do Netflix and actual normal TV, to be honest.
Yeah, I do too. I think though, I was going to say I lost my thought now. I think some people want there's anonymity that comes out, and comment section can be kind of a gutter sometimes. I think it shows people's true. Okay, I need to let you go. I said thank you for coming on. Now in 2 minutes. Do you have any questions for me before we go?
Yeah, I've asked you a few questions already in the past, haven't I, on your live streams? But yeah, what's the plan for you? You know, are you going to continue doing interviews, or are you going to keep doing reviews? What's the future for your channel, Thomas?
Doing reviews or interviews. So at the moment, it's probably 1 in 100 the people that accept or come on. So that's the acceptance rate for me. So that's the amount of people are asked. So it's getting people on, and then if someone says yes, so if I ask someone on Instagram or someone that I don't know, it's getting them on, and you could be in a conversation with someone 4 or 5 or 6 messages, then it's silence. You don't hear anything from them. So that's the biggest point. Yeah, so doing interviews will be probably the best part, biggest part of my channel.
Yeah, good. Do you know what I've just realised? I could see the comments all along, but I never actually saw them. So apologies if anyone's asked me any questions or directly asked me. I've only seen the ones you've highlighted. I've not seen the ones on the side. I didn't realise that I could see them as well. So apologies anyone who there's like on the so if anyone's not used this platform before, on my right hand side here, there's a private chat section, the comment section, and I've not clicked the comment section. So all the live comments I've not been looking at. So I've only seen the comments that Thomas has been highlighting. So apologies if you've asked me anything or you wanted me to comment on something that you've said, but maybe next time.
Yeah, well, it's your first time, but most people here, I think, have been like Mark would have been on StreamYard, Scott would have been on StreamYard. We all know the first time you miss things. I should have told you to switch over to. Yeah, so I'd say thank you to everyone who has watched, who has commented. I don't know if anyone's liked or shared or blocked, but you're all brilliant. And it's next time. Thank you, Adam, again.
Thank you, Thomas. Cheers, bye.
Podcast.